Get higher, baby. Get higher, baby. Get higher, girl. Hey.
Welcome everybody back. Hopefully back. Maybe this is the first time you're listening. If so, welcome. And this is going to be a little bit of a weird episode to start on, but here we go. So, welcome to the Knights of the Pages Library. I'm Bo Knight. With me, as always, is my real life brother, Ryan Knight. And today we're actually not going to be looking at a book. We are going to be doing a round table where me and Ryan just get to talk for a bit. But before we get to the fun and the shenanigans, we have to go over our email because it seems like you guys don't understand it because nobody has emailed us yet. So our email is kotpl.pod@gmail.com. You can also get us on Twitter if you want to at Pageless Library. YouTube, which Ryan works actually really hard on, and is actually pretty good, if in my honest opinion, is at Knights of the Pageless Library. We also have a Facebook page at Knights of the Pageless Library, and if you go to Reddit and want to check out our page, it's r/KOTPL. All right, that's all the things that we had to do. How are you doing, Ryan?
Not so bad.
It's not so bad. That sounds like quite the sigh.
Yeah, I'm just tired of work, man. Today was my ninth day. I got to work tomorrow. It's freaking 10 days straight.
That's not normal, right?
No, I'm supposed to only be doing like 8 days, but our schedule's all jacked. So, but hopefully tomorrow's an easy day and I can get headed home at a decent time.
How long is your drive right now?
I'm gonna go from Wendover, so it's like 6.5 hours.
Well, it's not that bad, I guess.
No, it's really not that bad, but it's just irritating is all.
Well, I mean, some of our listeners may not even know. Ryan, what do you do?
I am a mechanic for Union Pacific Railroad. What do you do, Bo? Introduce yourself to the people.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, so yeah, I'm Bo. I actually live in Denver currently, and I work for Save a Tree, and I am a plant healthcare specialist. But in the winter, like right now, I am currently uh, installing Christmas lights. That's the fancy way to say it. It's just putting up Christmas lights right now for this the winter season until it warms up a little bit. And it's looking like we might not have to work tomorrow, which is kind of nice because it's snowing.
Oh my gosh, is it really?
Yeah.
This year has been bizarre. I mean, I don't want to talk about weather too long, but seriously, this year has been weird. It was like the summertime started out like kind of cool, like cooler temperatures. Then all of a sudden it was like, nope, never mind. Steady 90s or hundreds
Oh, dude,
everywhere.
I did not know it was going to be so fucking hot in Colorado.
Yeah, that's what
I
I
wish
mean.
somebody would have told me that it was going to be so fucking hot.
It's
Oh
just,
my god, it was miserable.
and then it was like the weather was like, super hot, super hot, super hot, and then it was like September, and all of a sudden it was like, you know what? Now we're going straight to
Oh
cold.
yeah, dude, it was
No.
yeah. But you know what? I actually prefer that when it's like hot, 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 and then like no transition time, just instant cold.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm in kind of a weird spot right here where we're working because like I go to work and it's freezing cold, so I have like my sweatshirt and my jacket on, and by about 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm like just sweating balls because now it's warm out. So where I'm at in Nevada, there's like that weird transition point still, but I agree. I'd rather it just be cold.
Yeah, and I don't understand. All of my freaking coworkers bitch about it being cold, and I was like, then why would you fucking move to Colorado? I feel like you didn't think this one through.
Right. See, if I would be like you, I would just go into Colorado assuming it's not going to be hot ever. It
Yeah,
was just going to be cold.
that was my assumption, which was a dumb assumption, I guess.
Well, I don't know about dumb, but yeah, the guy I work with, right? Well, one of the guys I work with, he's from Arizona, so he thought it was like freezing out this morning. He's putting on like
Yeah,
winter gloves,
yeah.
and I was like, dude, I think it's only like maybe 30 degrees. Like it's not cold at all.
Well, I work with like a bunch of guys like from Jamaica, And dude,
Oh.
they all day. It doesn't matter if it's hot or cold. They have sweatshirts on, which our Save-A-Tree sweatshirts are like really, really thick. Like
Nice.
it's basically like a coat. And hood up, and then they have their hard hat over their hood, and then they have like a face mask up all day.
Ugh. There's some guys out here that'll do that. That they wear their sweatshirt even when it's super hot because they like to sweat.
Yeah,
And
why?
they sweat in it, and then when the wind hits the sweat, it's cool, I guess. But I don't see it that way. It makes me uncomfortable.
I don't like to sweat, like, and I'm a sweaty guy, which is annoying. Because like if I'm sweating, I'm kind of a little bit uncomfortable.
I agree, and I'm the same way. I start sweating like super easy. So
Oh, dude, the other day I was eating freaking like spicy nuggets from Burger King, and they were making me sweat, and they weren't even that hot.
that's awesome.
Oh, it's just embarrassing. It's just like I'm eating these nuggets, and I'm just like sweating like I just ran a 5K. Like it's like dripping off my nose because I'm eating these barely even spicy nuggets. It's ridiculous. I didn't like spicy food like growing up, but now I like really like it, but I can't handle it worth a shit.
Yeah.
I sweat.
I'm kind of the same way too. Yeah, I mean, I don't like super duper spicy stuff, but I like to have some kind of heat, I guess. And I'm the same way though. There's a very fine line, and as soon as I cross it, I know because I start beating up sweat. I'm like, yep,
Yeah, dude,
cross the
like
line.
I feel like if you had a camera on me, you would think I was getting interrogated or something because like the sweat just like starts like beating up and pouring off of me. It's ridiculous.
That's funny. Dude, so speaking of hard hats,
Uh-huh.
I was wondering today. So, have you ever worn a flight helmet? Out of curiosity.
Like with the goggles like built in.
Yes. Yeah, where
No, I
you can
haven't.
like, dude. So, okay, so a flight helmet normally has. I'm gonna. By the way, for anyone, I mean, I think this is $1 million idea, and if it already exists, please email us and let me know.
No, and
But
if it doesn't already exist and somebody steals it, we are gonna find you.
well, I'm googling it right now as we speak because I've googled it before, never found anything, but I'm googling it again because I want to know. It looks like maybe there's a couple things kind of like what I'm talking about. Anyways, so like a flight helmet, you have the visor slides up into the helmet when you don't need it, and then you can slide it down and you can have a clear, or you slide down the other one and it's dark. And I was like, why does no one build hard hats with the same thing? Because we're supposed to wear face shields when we do like
Right.
anything out here. But so face shields are annoying, and I was wearing one today and I broke it, and I was like, there's got to be a better way for this. And it looks like this helmet that I'm looking at kinda
How much is it though?
kinda is what I'm thinking.
Because
It's
our company's cheap AF when it comes to getting anything for our workers.
oh, so this is $40.25 per unit, euros.
Oh,
Not
euros.
not
So
not
that's like
$40.
$8 million.
40, yeah, 40 euros. Here, I'm gonna send you this link just so you can see what I'm seeing. But seriously though, I was like,
Send it through Steam.
I am, because I'm no offense, Skype.
Hang on. I want to make a little plug for Steam. Anybody out there? Steam's chat thing is probably the best chat thing on the internet. It is
it really is.
amazing. So Ryan just sent me this link, right? It pulls up like a picture of what it is. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
And you click on it and it takes you right there. It's so easy to use. It's like, I mean, spoiler alert, we use Skype to record our podcasts, and it's a nightmare sometimes.
Sometimes. No offense, Skype, but sometimes.
No, all offense. Skype, you know what you've done.
Well, sometimes it's the internet.
Hey, this thing
Sometimes
is
it's not
cool.
Skype's fault.
Well,
Yeah, it's,
the thing I don't like about Skype is every time it updates, it resets all my settings.
yeah, I know. Mine does the same thing, which is very irritating.
When you wear a hard hat, do you wear it over your ball cap?
No.
You don't? That's what I do.
No, I have.
It's uncomfortable, dude.
Huh?
Hats are uncomfortable. I don't like that on my head.
No, but I usually. Do you guys have like a little liner things in them?
What do you mean? Yeah, like so
Like at least
ours are like orange, and then it has like a thing that snaps into it, and then it has like you can control the size on the back.
Yeah. That's pretty much how ours are. Tell them to get you the little, or just. I mean, I guess I could give you some. They yeah, it snaps in the front. It's like a little cloth thing, so it makes it a lot more comfortable on your forehead.
I don't know. I just wear my hat.
I wear my beanie a lot of the times. If it's cooler out, I wear my
They
beanie.
have these Savagery beanies, but I cannot. I keep asking about them, and nobody will give me one. But everybody has one, but me. I swear. It's annoying because we only are allowed to wear like Savagery official stuff, which is
Sure.
kind of annoying. So you can't just wear whatever hat you want. So you can't just wear a beanie.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, that because you guys are like in the public eye all the time, whereas us,
Yeah, it's
you
kind of
guys
fun.
don't even know what we're
We were
doing.
putting up Christmas lights today, like right by the stoplight, and people were just stopping and gawking at us all day, just watching us freaking put
Oh,
Christmas
really?
lights on the tree. Yes.
That's
Just start
awesome.
charging for pictures. Oh, do you know what I've been watching recently? Freaking Black Mirror. I just watched the Bandersnatch for the first time. It's freaking.
Oh,
It's so mind fucky.
yeah. So you just watched it for the first time,
Yeah, all the way through. Well, we got one of the endings.
right? That's the cool part about it is there's multiple endings. How awesome is that?
Well, I kind of liked too that it was like it's talking about like you have a fate and you can't really, no matter what choices you make, it's always going to kind of push you down the same path. And in the show does that,
Right.
which is cool. I thought that was cool. And you can like, I don't know if you how much you messed around with it, but like, because you can be like, oh, because he's like, who's talking to me? And you can be like, oh, I'm on Netflix, and you can like tell him the truth.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
what
yeah.
are you really doing?
I got that one too. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
that one. Yeah, I've watched it 3 times.
Oh, you've seen it all three. So the ending.
No,
you got,
I don't think I haven't seen all 3 endings. I've just gone through it 3 times.
Okay, spoiler alert for Bandersnatch in 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So we got the ending where like you go back in time, and then you like put the bear back and then you go with the mom. That's
Yeah.
the one we did. So he like dies.
Yeah, I've seen that one too.
Which it that didn't make sense to me because like his friend died, right? But then he never came back for us.
No, yeah, the kid who jumps off the building.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
know.
didn't understand that.
I thought for sure it was just like a trippy dream, but
Yeah,
no,
it's so
he
weird.
was dead.
God, and they're like,
What a freaking cool concept though. So for anybody who's curious, Bandersnatch is a Black Mirror movie, but it's like a choose your own adventure. So like certain things that happen on the screen, it'll give you a choice of which one you want to do. Like the kid holds up like 2 tapes, and you pick which one he listens to. Which, by the way,
and so
depending
you
on
pick
what
this,
you pick,
basically the soundtrack for you.
right? And by the way, it's not. I thought for sure it would just be those 2 tapes. It's not. Depending on what you picked before that, sometimes it might be one of the same and one different tape, which that was just blowing my mind because I was like, wait a minute, how many choices did they really put into this? Because it seems like it was a lot.
And the acting's actually pretty good. Like the main guy is he does a really good job.
Yeah, no, and I thought I thought the whole thing was very, very well done, and I thought
Have you seen any of the new season of Black Mirror?
No,
Oh, you haven't seen any of it at all?
No, I
Damn.
haven't.
I was hoping we could talk about it. Damn it!
I haven't.
I've only
enough
seen
time
one
to do
episode.
anything.
I've only seen one episode, and it was it wasn't amazing, which was kind of surprising to me because, like, you told me about Black Mirror a long time ago, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And then, like, I sat down and watched it one day, and I was obsessed with it. I was like, dude, no, you have to watch this episode.
Yeah, very shortly you had seen more than I had.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I watched them all in like a week because I loved it. It was awesome.
Oh man, I want to get caught up on stuff, but I just like at the end of the day, I usually come back, I work out real quick, and then I go eat, and then I come back and I might watch like an episode of Dragon Ball because I'm still trying to watch all of that, and then I go to sleep.
I started watching, which is actually pretty good. It's as an anime, is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
What is
It's
that?
It's on Netflix now.
Oh, okay.
So basically, the whole premise is just like this spoiled rich kid, and then they adopt this other kid who's like really good at everything, and he wants to take the rich kid's place in the family. Is basically like what he's trying to do, and so they're like rivals the whole time. It's actually it's pretty. I've only seen a couple episodes, and it's a pretty long series. It's so far I like it a lot. It's got a weird animation style. They kind of like make them have like really angular faces and stuff like that.
Like old school anime style?
Yeah, kinda, like really cell shaded.
Right.
And I don't know, I watched a couple episodes. It's pretty good.
I have to check that out. Like I said, I'll add it to my backlog of stuff I need to do. Still trying to, dude. I'm still trying to get. I'm still trying to beat Sekiro, man. I'm way behind.
I haven't beaten Sekiro yet.
Oh, really? I thought you beat it.
No, if when you come to the part I'm at, you'll be like, dude, this game's impossible.
I've already said that like 100 times, and surprisingly, I've gotten past all those parts, which is quite the achievement.
Me too, until this one part.
Oh, I believe you. I believe you 100% because there's been plenty of times where I was like, "There's no
Speaking of
way."
Sekiro, you know what I've actually been listening to at work, kind of? Is freaking some Bonfire Side Chat.
Oh, really?
Some Dark
Gone-
Souls
Going
3.
back.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting to listen to what they have to say. Sometimes.
I like their show. I mean, especially, well, I mean, I don't listen to any of the other ones, but
You don't listen to Watch Out for Fireballs?
No, I've just listened to Bonfire Side Chat. That's my only one I like. No, I haven't got into
Oh.
Watch Out for Fireballs.
Sorry, I was just looking at the link you sent me.
Yeah, I think those are the hard hats we should wear. It's got a big
Like-
shield.
So what Ryan's showing me, because you guys are just listening, is it's like it's a Spetsnaz helmet, so they're Russian soldiers, right?
Yeah,
And it's basically like a kind of like a military helmet, but it has like a face shield that you can pull down with like a true slat that you would see like somebody have that's like carrying 2 machine guns is firing them both.
I think that would be perfect because how could anybody
Yeah.
complain about that? Because you'd have your safety glasses on still, so even though the slit doesn't have
that's
plastic-
true. Dude, they should make it so like that visor part is like a welder thing.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Okay,
Well,
I'll
does it-
stop Googling hard hats.
No, that's I kind of want to talk about it because don't they make freaking welding helmets that you can see until it gets really bright and then it darkens it? I feel like Dad has one like that.
That's pretty much the only way to go anymore is like the Speed Glass. Like
That's
that.
what it's called.
Well, Speed Glass is a company that makes them, but yes, most of them are all auto darkening now.
It's basically like super transition lenses for anybody listening.
It's really
And
it's really really nice because you don't have to like gone are the days. Well, I mean, some guys still use old school helmets, but gone are the days where you like hold your rod real close to what you want to start welding on and then put your hood down and you can't see anything until you strike your rod. Gone are those days. You can just leave your hood down because it's like light green when you're looking through normally, and then as soon as you strike your arc, it darkens, so you don't
dude,
blind yourself.
you just reminded me of something. There was this thing on Reddit. These guys were showing off this night vision goggles that the military has. It literally looked like daytime. It was
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
Like you couldn't even. It didn't look green like they show night vision being. Like
right.
I've never actually worn night vision goggles, so maybe that's what it's like. But it literally just looked like daytime. Like you couldn't even tell it looked different at all. It
Oh,
was
I'm
nuts.
sure. And I'm sure they're getting better. I've worn them, but it's been quite a few years, and it was weird because I wasn't outside. It was daytime outside, so I was in a really dark room, and we turned all the lights off, and I put them on, and like anywhere there was light, like there was like a I don't know, the shades on the window like had a tiny slit, and it made it just look like daylight over in that corner. Like it was crazy.
That's so man, yeah. Some of the stuff the military guys get to play with, I'm like, ooh, this seems like so much fun.
Dude, that's because our country puts more money into the military than anything, I feel like.
Oh, way more than anything. I want to say like we spend more on military than like the next 3 closest countries. Like we spend more than the next 3 countries combined.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. And kind of irritating because, we think which, I mean, pretty great country. However, I'm not saying I would hate universal health care or, universal education. But,
I wouldn't be mad at that either.
I mean, I just get pissed off when people are like, yeah, but then you'd have to pay a bunch of taxes. It's like, dude, we already do pay a bunch of taxes. Like, at least if we had free healthcare and I was paying a bunch of taxes when I go to the hospital, I just walk away and it's free. Like, I don't understand how this is a bad thing.
True. Yeah.
You
I don't get it
You
enough to
fucking
even argue
socialist.
it.
fucking
Yeah, you are, you
socialist, man.
piece of trash.
Fucking hippie pussy. Like, oh well, excuse me for thinking that certain things like that, everybody should have access to. Plus, I get mad because these same people who are like, oh, then you'd have to pay so much in taxes. It's like, do you not understand how this works? So, because I pay a lot of taxes and because I have insurance, basically what ends up happening is I end up paying for the people who go anyways, even if they don't have insurance or don't hardly pay any taxes. Me and you end up paying for those people to go. So why not at least pay more up front and then we could go for free too? I don't understand.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know. I don't know enough to even talk about it, really. I don't know anything about politics.
I don't either. I'm just highly opinionated on some of this stuff because I think it's stupid.
I just try and stay out of it. This whole, like, I just don't like our, like, Facebook culture that we have right now.
No, yeah, well, they could go a whole episode talking about that because I feel like that's like the more Duncan Trussell and stuff I've been listening to, the more all that stuff irritates me because everybody is so. It's basically like really, really easy mind control. Like,
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's what it comes down to is like if you're plugged into your phone all the time and all you're looking at is like Facebook and stuff, then all you're seeing is the things that they want you to see. Like that's it. That's all it comes down to.
And just for anybody, I know none of my friends actually listen to this, but please, if you show me memes you saw on Facebook, I've already seen them. Like, come on.
Because you use Reddit.
Yeah, I've seen them
Yeah.
months ago, man. Like,
Yeah.
Facebook is just like the worst place to get your memes.
See, I even got off all that, man, because I got off Reddit for the sole reason. I'm not saying memes aren't funny. I find some memes very funny, but I felt like my eyes were gonna start bleeding if I looked at one more meme because that's all I was looking at. I would catch myself. I'm just like sitting there, scrolling, and then it runs out of stuff, and I'd have to
Yeah.
refresh. And I was like, okay, time to quit the internet for the day because
Quit the internet. I'm done interneting.
yeah. Well, I mean, dude, I have like pretty much what we're doing right now is pretty much the quote unquote social media that I do is like,
Yeah, even then we're like really bad at it.
well,
We're,
yeah,
like
I
the
mean,
worst.
that's what I mean though, is I don't have social media and I don't really feel a lot of a need to have it because I get upset too when people are like, yeah, well, I used to, keep in contact with like old friends or family. It's like, if those people wanted to get a hold of me, it's really easy to get a hold of me. I mean, I have a cell phone, so
True, very true.
that's where it bothers me is that it, I don't know, it's like this almost like this dystopia where like people live on Facebook, they live on social media, and I agree with all the stuff that says that it's like anti-social media almost because people will go out with friends and then they all just sit on their phones.
Oh, dude, the thing that really, like, especially because I've been working at the Botanic Gardens, like, that's all you see people doing is like they're at the Botanic Gardens taking pictures of themselves.
Oh my God.
Like,
yeah.
they just go so they can like show their friends that they went.
Right. And that's really stupid in my opinion. It's like just enjoy what you're doing. Like that's fine. Take a few pictures so you have some memories of it, but just enjoy it. You don't have to take pictures of the whole thing and take pictures of everything there because let's be real, how often are you going to go back and look at those pictures? Like, you're not. I mean,
Well, Louis C.K. talks about that, like when he's talking about like when you put your daughter's ballet recital on the internet, nobody watches more than 5 seconds of that.
right. You know why? Because nobody else is interested in it other than
Right.
you. So, especially when it comes to something like that, like with your kids, just enjoy those things with your kids. Don't film them specifically because you want to show it to other people because you're trying to impress other people. That's silly to me.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's a lot of like American culture. It's just like based around like this persona that you cultivate.
Yeah, well, how does it go? I can't remember the whole thing, but it's basically like we go to jobs that we don't enjoy to, earn money to spend on things we can't afford to impress people that we don't like.
Dude, I know it's so true though.
I mean, that is true. I feel like that's 100% true. Is like especially like we've been talking, Caitlin and I have been talking about that because, like our house, our house isn't like very super big. It's like 1,600 square feet, but it's like plenty big enough for us and our family. And we started talking about it the other day, and I was like, yeah, why do people always want a bigger house? And I was like, all that you do when you have a bigger house is you just fill it with more shit. And like by shit I mean shit, like junk, shit you put in the corner and you look at one time and you show your friends the first time they come over, and then after that nobody cares about it. So like I don't understand why people always think they need more space in their house. Like I am happy that I have land. That would be the part that I prefer more, is that I have more space outside and around me than inside the house itself.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I definitely see some of the freaking, especially working like going to these nice houses. It's just like you just see like these people have so much money they don't even know what to do with it.
Well, and yeah, and that's a whole nother problem in itself, is like the way we do the debt-based system that we're based around, like not even just in the United States, that's pretty much the worldwide right now. The debt-based system is it, huge problem, and I really don't think that we as humans will advance until we get out of the debt-based system.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but then it's like it's so based around that already, though. It's like, what do you do? How do you get
Right.
rid of it?
Well, that is true, but my response to that would be it hasn't always been there. You know what I mean? And people survived in other times when it wasn't there, when the system wasn't based around like money or gold or whatever. It hasn't always been like that. Not even money and gold. I shouldn't say that. That's not the huge issue. Money is not the huge issue. Money is fine. Even credit is okay. The part where the problems exist is interest, because they'll give you a loan on a house that you probably already can't really afford. Then they tack the interest on, and they make it so you can literally never pay for it ever. And that is just sad.
Yeah, it is kind of sad. Well, and they don't care if you're stuck in that forever.
Exactly. And then what happens when you're like, hey, I really can't pay for this? They're like, okay, that's fine. We're going to keep all the money you already gave us, and we're going to take that back. And since you still owe us all this money, we're going to take all this other shit too. Is that okay? Oh, it's not okay? Well, it doesn't really matter anymore because we pretty much own you because we gave you all this money.
Yeah, dude, that makes me think so much of Grandma's Boy when those guys just show up to their house and
Yeah.
take all their shit.
You haven't been paying rent.
Yeah. You forgot
So
smoking
true.
lamp.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Was that the expensive piece?
God, it's a good movie for anybody wondering. If you haven't seen Grandma's Boy, you probably should watch it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Also, can we talk about a hidden gem movie? A couple hidden gem movies
Of
while we're
course.
at it. Number one is Orgasmo.
Oh yeah, Orgasmo is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, and I feel I'm almost mad that I didn't know about it sooner,
Yeah, I kind of agree.
because then I could have seen it more times. Like, and I could have shown it to more people.
Yeah, and even when you ask people, they've never heard about it.
No, so many people have never heard about it. And the other one that I want to mention is the Slammin' Salmon.
Oh yeah, the Slam and Salmon's real good.
Yeah, and I don't know how many people knew about that one, but I, even though I knew it was already by the guys who did like Beer Fest and Super Troopers, I just remember somebody was like, "Nah, man, it's stupid. You don't need to see it." So I never watched it. And then when I finally did watch it, I was like, "Wow, that guy is either a liar or he has horrible taste in movies, because that movie is hilarious."
Yeah, it is. It's super funny. It is more subtle though than like Super Troopers and freaking Beer Fest.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And maybe that's why I think it's funnier, because like obviously me and you like love like British humor, which that's
Yeah.
all like subtle humor and uh things in the background and stuff. They basically like they don't care if you missed the joke. It's still there, so that the next time around, maybe you'll catch it. Like, and I love that.
Yeah, me too. Like, yeah, like it's no secret. One of my favorite comedies of all time is Hot Fuzz. It's like it's a masterpiece in my opinion.
Oh,
And that's
it might be the best movie of all
it.
time.
It might be the
I'll put
best
it-
movie. Let's be real. I mean, I remember one time when I visited you in Astoria, we watched Hot Fuzz every night.
I'll put it to you this way. This is how my buddy used to say it. Would you say it's a good movie or the best movie?
Yeah, yeah, dude, it is pretty freaking good, dude. I like it a lot. I could watch it over and over again and never
Yeah.
be mad.
Right up there. Well, I will say this other movie is right up there with Hot Fuzz, and that is Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle in English though. You have to watch it in English.
Yes, that is very true. And the only reason I say that is because the English dubbed voices are what makes it hilarious.
Hilarious, dude. They're so funny.
They
Like,
are funny.
what they have to say is hilarious. I mean, I've watched it in Japanese, and it's just not the humor is not the same.
Really? See, I've never
Uh-uh.
watched it in Japanese, so I don't even know like what the dub is.
I mean, it's pretty much the same, but it's a lot more serious. It's a little more serious.
Really? That surprises me because of how silly of a movie it is.
Oh, it is a super silly movie, and it doesn't really take itself seriously at all. But I
Right.
mean, just the English voices just make it for me because they're so funny. They're all so good too.
Oh yeah, that's like one of the best parts about it is the dubs, how silly the voices are.
Yeah, and yeah, Kung Fu Hustle, great movie. Kung Pao, pretty good movie too.
Dude, I haven't seen Kung Pao in so long though.
Yeah,
Like
me
I
neither.
almost and I remember Kung Pao, but that one is much. The reason I don't like it as much as Kung Fu Hustle is because Kung Fu Hustle is more subtle humor, whereas
Oh yeah, Kung Pao is just a
Kung
silly,
Pao is
dumb movie.
is like ham-fisted humor.
Oh,
like-
it's super ham-fisted. It just beats you about the face with it all movie.
Right.
Yeah, and Kung Fu Hustle actually has like some good like action scenes in it too.
I that's one thing I really like about that is it almost is like if they were gonna make a Dragon Ball Z like live action movie, they should get a hold of those guys who did Kung Fu Hustle because
Oh, yeah.
that is like the perfect adaptation, I think, of that style. Like if you're gonna change anime to real life, that would be the perfect adaptation of it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It totally would be like that like the fighting style they do and all because they do like ridiculous fighting in that movie really well, like superhuman fighting basically.
Yeah, like where they're moving so fast you can't see them, but then it slows it down and they're like actually fighting. Yeah, it's a very very cool way that they did that.
Yeah, and Dragon Ball Z doesn't even do that. They just get going so fast and they're just like throwing punches at each other you can't even see anything.
Yeah, I mean, but it's still awesome.
Oh, I'm not talking shit about Dragon Ball Z. I love Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Somebody said something at work. Who was it? I can't remember who it was, but they said something about at work about. I think anime got brought up, and of course the guy I work with is like, "Yeah, I had a buddy in high school who's freaking obsessed with like Dragon Ball Z or whatever," and I was like, "I kind of like Dragon Ball Z." And he was
Did you
just
say
like,
that?
Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, well, I don't really understand it." I was like, "Well, it's just a show. Like, yeah, just because it's a cartoon. I mean, it's just a show. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why The Walking Dead is so popular, but I'm not gonna talk shit about it because
Yeah, but the anime people don't like anime is because of the freaking weebs, dude, that just give it a bad name.
well, okay, and I get that. Like, I guess I like that's why. Well, we talked about this before. Like, that's why I pick and choose anime very carefully because if I turn on an anime and the very first thing that I see is like a scantily clad young
dude, that stuff
girl.
pisses me off.
I know it's like
honestly.
a scantily clad young girl with like huge, abnormally huge titties.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, well, nope, no need to watch this one because this is trying to appeal to a different audience. Like,
Yeah.
I like to watch them when it's a good story. Like My Hero Academia is like a cool story and it's a good story. And like uh but like ones that immediately like are trying to draw in the weebs, I don't
Oh,
like
yeah.
that stuff.
Me too. Me too. I think that stuff on it. It makes me feel like I'll be watching it by myself and I'm like uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I mean. I just turn that shit off because I'm like, this is not what I like to watch them because they're entertaining and have a good story. I don't need the other weird nonsense stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Some of the freaking tropes that in anime I just don't like.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you ever watched? I feel like we've talked about this before. Neon Genesis Evangelion.
No, I have it on my Netflix, and is there multiple like um series of the Evangelion thing?
Well, I think
Evangelion?
there's two movies and then there's the series.
Oh, okay, maybe
The
that's.
the series is like 1998 that they did.
Oh wow, no, I have not watched it. I have it on my backlog. I have it on there.
Actually, I'm gonna look it up because there might be more. I don't know. It's actually it's really good in my opinion.
I think
And
we have. Go ahead.
oh, no, what were you gonna say? You said it was on because it was on Toonami growing up.
Oh, really? No, see,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Hmm.
I was about to say that if we had a fan base, we probably lost them when we started talking about anime.
Oh, that's
Because,
fine.
and I agree. I mean, I don't understand. Actually, if you go and watch like, I think it's like my latest YouTube video that I put up on my channel is I this has been my thing lately. Why do we all have to pick teams? Like,
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna talk about earlier when talking about politics.
yeah, well, that's just it. Like, I I get upset when like I am not religious. However, if somebody who is religious wants to have a conversation with me, I'm not going to be like, "Oh no, no, dog, I can't talk to you because you believe in Jesus." Like, that's the silliest thing ever. To be like, or I'm not political at all, but it really is weird when someone that is right wing, quote unquote, is like, "Oh man, I hate that guy because he's liberal." It's like you don't even know that guy. Like you guys could have almost everything in common except he has like a blue pin on his shirt and you have a red pin. Like
Well,
that's
like that really makes me mad, especially with people like Jordan Peterson when they don't really listen to what he's saying because they just assume he's super right wing.
right. Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah,
And even
I
though he's like
just
not political, he's like coming at it from a science angle.
right. Well, that's kind of what I mean though. Is like you you should be able to sit down with anybody and have a conversation. And it shouldn't matter what your core beliefs are, like if you believe in Christianity or Catholicism or whatever, you believe in if you're a Satanist, it shouldn't matter. You should still be able to sit down and have a conversation with each other. You shouldn't automatically assume that you're not going to like the other person because they don't have the same core belief system as you. That's silly. That's such an archaic way of thinking.
Yeah, it really well, I mean, I think it just kind of appeals to human nature to like want to belong to something, and so you feel like you belong to this bigger team when
Well,
you
and
pick a
yes, you're
side.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That is why that is why I think people because it's easier to surround yourself with like-minded people because
Yeah.
however, I think that also adds to the problem because then they just sit around and they have their big circle jerks and just stroke each other's ego about, yeah, we're right. We're definitely right. And the other people are wrong. It's like, no, that's so stupid.
Yeah. Well, and it's easier to think about things in black and white.
Yeah, that's true. Trust me, I think I've had many a headache lately because I've been not thinking about things in black and white and been trying to like expand my thoughts, I guess you could say. I don't, however philosophical you want to get about it, but and then it makes my head hurt though because I'm like, why don't more people just understand this? Like why don't more people just, be nice to each other? That's really what it comes down to. Like,
I don't know. Like, I think a lot of the time, I think people don't really want to think about like another person's position on something. Like, they don't want to think about like what might have led them to believe what they believe. Because
sure.
I mean, you come down to it, we're all people, but I feel like a lot of the time
Exactly.
they don't think about other people as people with
Dude.
like their own thoughts and feelings.
Well, okay. So with that being said, you know what it's like to talk to someone who is not listening to what you have to
Oh
say.
yeah,
They're just waiting for you to finish so they can say what they want to say.
yeah, that's
I
so
mean,
annoying. Those are the
we
worst
all
kind
know
of people.
people like that. And I'm sure you've probably done it at some point. I
Oh
know for
yeah,
sure I've done it at some point where I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay, just hurry up. This is stupid. Let's change the subject or whatever." And that's dumb. Like you should be able to listen to someone, understand what they're saying, maybe not understand where they're coming from, but at least try to acknowledge what they're saying before you whatever you do, change the subject, elaborate, whatever it is. Like I think that's healthy conversation.
yeah, it is. I don't know. It's just I've I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do, and maybe it's not like this in every part of the world, but I feel like a lot of like America is you think about yourself first, always.
I don't think it's like that everywhere. I think it's more like that in like your quote unquote first world countries.
Okay.
Um, for the sole purpose that we are reliant on our, debt based and our money system basically. So the whole reason that we I think are so selfish basically is because people in these kind of countries see like rich people, for example, and you're like, oh man, I want to be like that guy. So the only way that they think to be like that guy is to be selfish
Yeah.
because when you're selfish, it's really easy to walk across the backs of other people
Yeah.
to get to that quote unquote higher or happier place, basically. I just
Yeah. Yeah.
what
Exactly.
the part of that that doesn't make a lot of sense to me is like I mean, yeah, I like money. I like being able to afford things and buy myself things or buy my kids things or whatever. But if my path to more money, like say I reached the end of this path that led me to a bunch of money and I turned around and I had just people who hate me or people who I freaking kicked into the dirt or whatever, I'd be like, wow, was this really worth it? Like, was it really worth it to have all this money? And then I'd be
Yeah.
like, fuck yeah, it was, man. Look at my car. Look at my
Yeah.
house. Like,
And then you light your cigar with your $100 bill.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Had to lighten the mood a little bit. We're getting a little deep and gonna make me depressed.
Oh, I don't want to make you depressed.
So here's a lightning fast segue. Um, have you listened to like all the Joe Rogan stuff about like ancient Egypt?
No, I
Like,
don't know about all of it.
well, I
Probably
probably haven't.
most of it.
Okay, so the John Anthony West and like the Robert Schock
Yeah.
stuff. Okay, so I've talked to you about this before a little bit, and we actually argued about this one time. I remember while we were drunk. Um, I don't think that we are at like the like everybody always thinks right now we are the best we've ever been as humans. We're the best we've ever been. There's no way anybody was ever better than we are now. And I 100% do not think that's true. And the reason I ask if you've watched the Egypt stuff is because it was weird because John Anthony West basically said those exact same
Yeah,
words.
he kind of did. Because we talked about this before I had listened to all this stuff.
Same here. It was before I had listened to any of it.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you. I feel like I don't know. They were definitely doing something in Egypt that we can't do now.
Right. And the thing is like if you go and you even watch like the Pyramid Code show or any Egypt show, unless it's the silly, stupid American dramatic show, But if you watch any like legitimate documentary about it, you cannot look at the things that they did and be like, oh yeah, they were clearly using, like bronze tools to do that. It's like, no. If you know anything about anything, you'll know that it would be impossible to do that with bronze tools. There's no way.
Yeah, and I don't know. And like to me, like it would be so easy to lose a lot of history if it was all kept in one place and something happened to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, because think about that. If they were super advanced and there was a catastrophe, and then like Joe Rogan talks about, like if you drop a piece of paper on the ground, that piece of paper is gone within like a year.
Yeah.
Even metal. You find metal from like 100 years ago, it's all rusted and almost eaten completely through and almost gone in only 100 years. So John Anthony West and Robert Schoch think that Egypt was in its prime somewhere. Well, I don't know about its prime, but Egypt, like that we know, was basically, at its height in almost 30,000 years ago.
Right. And that's a long time.
Right, and they're defying the normal timeline. The normal timeline says 6,000 years ago, but because of they're talking about the water erosion on the Sphinx, they're like, no, that the last time it rained in the Nile Valley or there was any major amount of water was before the last ice age, which would have been 30,000 years ago.
Well, and they talk about like that we like as humans we kind of have this like fascination with like these cataclysm events that happen and like kill off a bunch of people.
Right.
And like where would that come from unless it's been like something that's happened to us?
Exactly. Unless it's happened within, it doesn't even have to be recorded history. Plus, what's crazy for me to think about is like, okay, so like we have the internet. We're talking over the internet right now. I'm not saying that like the Egyptians had the internet, but they could have had some technology that we don't know about. And like even like my laptop, in 100 years, this thing there will be no way anybody could know anything about this laptop because like if I threw it out in the dirt, it would disintegrate into nothing. So if what they say is true and it was 30,000 years ago, there are so many things that cannot last that long. The only things we see are the freaking rocks, and that's because nothing can do anything to rocks. Like, I mean, that is insane to think about. Like, it literally makes my head hurt thinking about that stuff.
Well, and you kind of had a good point. Like, let's say, like our infrastructure were to fall away in like 100 years, they would have no way to access all the information that we have.
None.
Like they would have no way to get back on the internet.
Exactly. None. Because especially if something big happened, like even say like an EMP went off, or like Robert Schoch talks about, he thinks that it was like solar events, like with the sun, like flares or whatever. If it wiped out even if it wiped out like the electrical grid or whatever, we would be in such deep shit because the way the technology is now with like electronics, very sensitive and very fine-tuned electronics. Like, yeah, there's a lot of people who understand how they work, but it's like, okay, do you know though how to build this laptop from scratch?
Hell no. I don't even really understand it. And I've like put it to computer together. I don't really even get it.
That's what I mean though. So yeah, our technology now is, yes, it's amazing. It is. Like the fact that I can talk to you and you're, half a world away, that's amazing. But for someone to say that we are the most advanced we've ever been, or that we are even the most technologically advanced, we don't know that part. We just look at a very small timeline because we think, well, we're the most technologically advanced we've been in 200 years. And that's absolutely true. But things have been around so much longer than that. And we would have no idea what was around, 1,000 years ago. They can guess all they want, but we don't know.
Yeah, and like that's the thing, is just like we're We're like piecing together a puzzle that we don't even know if we don't have all the pieces to it.
Exactly. We will never know. We won't.
Like I don't know. I
And
think Egypt is so interesting. It's just so it's like a really interesting piece of its history.
well, and the that's part of it too that's so like staggering to me is Egypt. Egypt is incredible, but then they're finding all these other megalithic sites around the world. That means even Egypt probably wasn't the most advanced, even maybe even at the time. Like that in itself is mind-boggling.
Yeah, and well, like, and they talk about like Göbekli Tepe and stuff.
Yeah,
They're like
that's
still uncovering.
yeah, that's the other one I wanted to bring up. I for some reason I always want to call it Puma Punku, which is the other another
What?
site.
Dude, that sounds like freaking like a place in World of Warcraft or something.
Well,
We're
they
off to Puma Punku.
they mention it on Ancient Aliens all the time,
Oh,
but
really?
it's the same type of thing though, like crazy carved stone that like fits together like a puzzle type thing. But like Göbekli Tepe, um, they also are almost positive that Göbekli Tepe was purposefully buried.
Oh, no, they know it was. 'Cause
Right,
it's like the way it is. It's like it was like purposely buried.
right. So that leads even more credence, I think, to like what Robert Schock is saying. Like maybe there was a catastrophic event slowly happening, and they were like, we have to protect this site.
Oh
And
shit, I didn't even think about that.
you know, well, he talks about um, yeah, I mean, it's a long episode, but it's really good. The latest one that he was on with Joe, but like all these things that were happening, like they could simulate when if a one of those events happened, like a solar flare or whatever. He basically said like the sky would basically be covered in lightning, and lightning would just be striking the earth, maybe like multiple times in a minute,
Jesus
all over the
Christ.
place. So that's why he's saying like we possibly we find these cave drawings and stuff because that's where people went to hide. So who knows how advanced they were, but at the time maybe all they could do is scratch some stuff on the walls. Like, and I'm not even talking about like clearly the uh the cave drawings of like the buffalo and the dudes hunting the buffalo and whatever. Like, but there's some other cave drawings that are just like incredible, I guess, and they don't even know how they managed to do them or how where they came from.
Well, and I heard something too that they think that people were in the Americas for longer because there's so many different languages that it would have taken longer than they think. There's no way there could be that many languages with like
Oh,
the
sure.
time frame that they've given them.
Well, yeah, because language is a weird one, and because like who knows how long it takes to develop a language?
Yeah,
Because
I don't understand that honestly. If I think about it too much, it's like how is the first person talking to somebody else?
well, exactly. So like the, even the timeline that they give for that they're guessing at, because that's what it is, it's just a guess, but the timeline they guess at, even then I'd be curious if like a something like that could develop over that short period of time that they give, like that 6,000 years ago for Egypt. I just don't think it doesn't seem like long enough,
Yeah, I don't.
especially for how much stuff they clearly accomplished. Like for anyone to think that they didn't accomplish tons and tons and tons of things, like
Yeah, and they definitely did, which is I don't know. It's just it hurts my head if I think about it for too much. Too much, I think.
oh, absolutely. I remember that was the thing we talked about though, when we were drunk, talking about being the most advanced we've ever been. And you argued with me because you brought up the internet, and I remember I said I agree that the internet is amazing because you were like, yeah, but you can learn all these things. It's all right at their fingertips, and that is 100% true. However, I don't think people are getting on the internet to learn.
Well,
All
no.
this I'm not saying everybody, obviously, but this goes back to what we were talking about before. I bet if you looked, you know, I'd be surprised if it was less than 85% of people probably spend most of their time on social media, which,
Well, I think
you know,
a lot of our free time is spent doing leisure stuff.
bingo. Yeah. We have, that's just it. We've gotten to this point where I'm not saying no one's innovating, but I think our innovations are silly innovations for the most part.
Misguided.
Yeah. Well, I bring this up all the time. Something that drives me insane is I always use cars for this example. Like they come out with a new car, 2020 car, and the new like selling points, I'm like, last year's model had all that same shit.
I know.
You know what I mean? Now, the things that they're using to upsell them, it blows my mind that people bite off on those things because it's like you do realize that last year's car was identical except for that one change that they showed in the commercial.
Right.
And I think that's just sad because people call it innovation. I'm like, no, it's not. They could have done the quote unquote innovation last year. But because they got to crank out a new car every year, you get like the Call of Duty syndrome where you got to put a new one out every year. Therefore, we don't have enough time to truly change it and make it different. We just got to slap a new coat of paint on it and tell everybody that, oh, no, trust us, it's different.
Yeah. And yeah, cars are weird because it's like, how much can you really innovate in just a year on a car?
I don't think you can. And I think it's silly. I also think it is silly that this might not be true right now, but like even just like 5 years ago, when they come out with a car and the commercial's like record breaking 28 miles the gallon. I'm like, bitch, my car is a 99 and I can get 32 miles to the gallon on it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I do know exactly what you mean.
that, and it's obviously it's different now with like the hybrids and the purely electric cars like Tesla and stuff like that. But even 5 years ago, I was like, this is just silly. They are just lying to people now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really get it. I don't.
I don't get it either. Getting too philosophical. Probably should have taken some college classes about it, and then I wouldn't want to talk about it at all because it would just really hurt my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think anybody can be a philosopher. It doesn't matter. You're just a regular guy.
That's what
Give a
we're doing.
regular opinion.
That's what we're doing right now, man. We're just not famous for it.
Yeah, not yet.
Dude, it's like I told you though, you gotta do a skit where you talk to some dude about some deep stuff and he's like listening all intently and then he's like, whatever, man, we all die. And the other guy's like, whoa, dude, what? It's like, yeah, it doesn't matter, man. We die. And then like even if something good happens, whoa, man, you just won $1 million. And it doesn't really matter, we all die.
Yeah.
Whoa, jeez. Like he's not even being negative about it. He's just being real. Like that's just how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is weird to me, like as humans, like that I don't know about the only thing. I'm sure dolphins probably think about the fact they're gonna die, but like that we like have the knowledge that we are slowly deteriorating and we can even watch it happen.
Right. Yeah.
It is kind of strange that we have to live this way.
Well, so this kind of takes me back to some of the theories they had about Egypt is like that pyramid code show theorizes that potentially like the Great Pyramid was literally set up to put out like good vibes to make people feel
it does.
I mean, and I started thinking about it and I was like, well, goddamn, could we just bring that back already? Because that would be nice if you just woke up feeling good because they turned the pyramid on, at 6 a.m. and everybody feels good before
Yeah,
they
but
even have the
dude,
first
now
cup
that
of
I'm
coffee.
thinking about it, is that any different than like putting people on antidepressants?
I don't know. I would say potentially for the sole reason of like I know that if I do like yoga or I meditate,
Right.
it makes me feel better. So I don't necessarily think that because I've been getting more and more into like the energy type stuff lately. And I would just say it would be different because I think like if you walk into a room and say someone in that room is mad at you, and before you even start talking to that person, you can feel that energy, I think.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I would say it's different. Whereas like an antidepressant is like a chemical reaction that forces your body to maybe produce more of one or the other chemical to help correct a imbalance maybe. I would just see this as like a possibly an energy change basically for everyone. You know what I mean?
Okay. I guess. I don't know. It just seems like I don't know. I don't really like anything that would be like controlling everyone. You know what I mean? Like even if it's in like subtle ways, like making you feel better. Like what does that really mean?
Yeah, actually, I mean that's a good point. Actually, it that's a very good point. It could have been used as a tool to, you know, almost like a 1984 type scenario.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys aren't happy? You don't want to go to work today? Well, let me just turn up the dial on the pyramid there.
Yeah.
And how you guys feel
Exactly.
now? Oh, you guys are all good now to go to work? Okay, perfect. Let's get back to
Dude,
it.
that's what I was thinking.
That's okay. That's a good point. I didn't really think about it that way. That is a good point. I and then I see the comparison to antidepressants. Well, I'm going to use antidepressants loosely because some people I do think legitimately have an imbalance that needs fixed, and antidepressants
And that's
might help.
not what I meant.
Right. But I do see what you're saying too.
Yeah, and I don't know, just I don't know. I am so like leery of anything any establishment does. I don't know.
Well, that goes back to like what we were talking about before, like no universal health care. Like I think that the whole thing, our healthcare system, is literally just the pharmaceutical companies trading money with the hospitals
Well, it pretty much is.
and the insurance companies. It's just a huge circle jerk of money going in circles.
Yeah, and it pretty much is, and that's not. I don't know. Like universal healthcare, I feel like would be a good thing, but that's not. I don't know. Maybe it would be more controlled by the government. Because I mean, there are downsides, right? Like Canada, I know they have like you have to wait a long time for anything to get done and stuff like
I've
that.
I've heard that, but I've also heard the flip side of Canada people being like, "That's not true." Like, I mean, I guess it would depend. Like, if you go in and you're like, "My elbow feels funny,"
Yeah.
they're probably they're probably not going to rush you to the front of the line, even though it's free. They're not going to rush you to the front when some dude comes in and he's like, "Hey, is it cool if my one ear is missing?" They're like,
Yeah.
"No,
Hey, I
man."
got this knife in my throat.
Yeah, you know. But then can I please go in front of you? Nah, my elbow feel funny.
Yeah, my elbow feel funny. My elbow feels strange.
I
Freaking, I
just
love that shit.
I've heard that, and I've also heard that oh well, their healthcare is worse because their doctors don't get paid as much.
I don't know
It's
about
like
that.
exactly though. That's my point. Like, what you think because the doctor here gets paid more that he gives more of a shit about you? If anything, he doesn't necessarily want to fix you because then you won't come back and pay him again if you get fixed. That's a huge conspiracy.
That's true.
I mean, that is a legitimate conspiracy that they keep us sick because in our country, especially, that's how they get paid is when you're sick. They don't get paid when you're healthy.
It's true. Yeah, I don't know, but I just have a hard time believing that like a doctor would want to intentionally do something like
And
to not help people though, because
right.
like that's just kind of who they are.
And I agree with you to an extent because I think there's shitheads in every
No,
walk.
dude, there totally is. I'm not saying there isn't.
But and I mean, I think that there are amazing doctors out there, surgeons especially, like, that perform amazing things. I just think it's sickening to me when like someone goes in, like say you need like, I don't know, heart transplant and they get you on the list and you get your heart transplant and then all of a sudden all these bills start showing up at your fucking door. And it's like, hey, congratulations, you got a new heart. You're going to live another 30 years, which is great because that's how long it's going to take you to pay all this shit off,
Yeah.
even
That's
with
true.
insurance.
Yeah, I mean, I do think our hospitals charge way too much for what they do too. Like,
Like silly amounts.
yeah, like just ludicrous amounts where they make it almost like you have to have freaking you have to have insurance, or you just you can't make it.
That's 100% true. I think like that you almost do have to have insurance because I think insurance itself is a scam in my opinion because it's always they prey on the what if thing, like well you never know. It's like well
Yeah.
that's true, but some of this stuff, if I was just setting aside $100 a month, all the time, if something happened, I potentially would have enough money to pay for it. Probably not in this country, but so
Yeah.
I just want to go to Canada.
Yeah. I've always wanted to go to Canada. I think Canada would be dope.
I do too. I think I would much prefer to live in Canada.
It's a cool country. Actually, I don't even know. Only thing I know about Canada is Letterkenny stuff.
Well, and that's enough.
That's enough, huh?
That's plenty. That's all you need to know about wanting to move there. Yeah.
I don't know. Letterkenny just seems pretty similar to Cove. It's like, yeah, it's pretty much what it was like.
That's what I mean. Yeah. It's just, I, I don't know. And I'm sure they have their fair share of problems too. It just seems like overall, like it's one thing. People literally make fun of Canadians for being too nice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see that as a problem. Like,
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a bad thing.
plus Canada's like twice the size of the United States and has like half the amount of people. That sounds
Well, yeah,
perfect.
because it's cold.
But it's beautiful up there, man. There's so many beautiful spots in Canada.
Well, yeah, it's a huge country.
Even when I lived in Michigan, we would go right across the border to Canada, and I was like, for some reason, I was like, man, it's just nicer over here. Like, it's just right across the water, and I was like, it's just nicer here.
It's just a better country, which I thought was funny because like when I was there, you kept telling me like all the Canadians come over to shop.
Yeah, they do, and I thought it was weird.
Yeah, because
I think it's
America
because
is.
some stuff was cheaper though.
That makes sense then. I guess.
Probably avoid their super high tax rate or something. I don't know.
Maybe. Do they have sales tax?
I don't know what they have.
I don't either. No clue.
I should probably know that if I want to move there someday.
I think it's kind of hard to move to Canada.
Oh, it is because they don't want us there.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't want us there because then we show up and we start spreading. We just bum everybody out.
Yeah. Just bumming everybody out, freaking
Yeah, man.
Americans.
That's all we do, man. We just bum people out.
Yeah.
That's why I love the Team America movie.
Oh yeah, when they're just freaking going crazy.
That's so how it is too. We show up and we're like, we're here to help you, everybody, and there's just destruction everywhere.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Well, and like the word world police.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
absolutely 100% accurate.
And I mean, they make a good point in the movie, which at the same time, I feel like we shouldn't be sticking our nose in everybody's business. It's like we have the power to do something, so we should.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like, I mean, I'm just a simple person, but I think it's silly that like go to the Middle East and we're like, whoa, you guys have been fighting for how long? Yeah. we can solve this. You guys,
Yeah, it is super arrogant.
you need democracy.
Well, have you seen the movie with that's like about the general who went over there? It's on Netflix. Can't remember what it's called.
Not ringing a bell, so you can tell me about it.
Oh my gosh! Like basically, they just like go there because they're like in Iraq, but you can't like fight the people because they're insurgents, and so like every person you kill is just gonna make more people insurgents. It's just gonna make more people mad. So it just does. They're not really like being effective. They can't really do anything because like their presence alone is like starting freaking like people don't want to deal with that, even if they are helping.
Yeah, but that's just it. Like, what if they don't want help? Like, what
Yeah.
if they don't? And I'm sure there are some who do appreciate it, but I would bet there's way more who are
Well,
like,
I just know, like, as Americans, like, it wouldn't matter even if they were helping. We're like, why are you sticking your nose in our business?
exactly.
Like, it's not your problem to fix this.
Yeah, silly.
We got dark and political and history. Oh my gosh, what haven't we talked about?
I think we just scratched the surface too. Because honestly,
Bro.
I could probably do a 3 hour long episode just talking about Egypt.
Oh,
Because
dude, I could do a couple day long podcast about Egypt.
it has just been I've gone down the rabbit hole on it because it just is so intriguing to me.
Oh, yeah, I like Egypt. I've always liked Egypt, even since I was a kid. Egypt, I like Rome. Rome's cool. Greece. Greece is also a really cool part of history.
Those are other really good ones because like Joe talks about the whatever it is, the Acropolis and the Parthenon.
yeah.
Yeah, and so he's like, you know, the Romans built the Acropolis, or Greece, or whoever it was, built the Acropolis on top of the Parthenon, which is this gigantic stone.
Yeah.
And he was like, that means it was probably there first. So where did that stone come from?
Yeah.
Like, you know? And I'm just like, oh God, just blowing my mind.
Yeah. History is just it's so interesting to me, especially because we just seem to like repeat the same mistakes of the past.
Oh my God, yeah. I think we didn't even start talking about like the Mayan calendar and the Mayan beliefs.
Oh, what? Yeah.
Well, because what's funny too is I'm pretty sure back when we had that discussion a long time ago is I was like, I think we're in like a dark age, and you were like, no way, man, there's no way. And then I watched that Pyramid Code show, and they're like, nah, we're definitely in the Kali Yuga, which is a dark age. I was like, shit, no, I was right.
Dude, the thing is, to me anymore, it doesn't seem like a dark age. It seems almost like the end of days.
So that's a good point because that's kind of though basically like the way I kind of understand some of it is that almost is what's happening. And in order for the Dark Age to start, the Kali Yuga to start going back up towards the Golden Age, is we basically have to have like a hard reset because we've kind of gotten to a point, we've dug ourselves this huge hole, and there's just, I don't think there's any way for us to get out of it now.
I don't know. I see these things from Boston Dynamics. I get scared. Like,
Well, yeah. Yeah, that's very true.
I don't know about you, but I just feel like we're doing so many things that like could easily just be the end of the human race.
Yeah, and it's almost like we're like poking the bear too.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Because people are like, man, AI is probably gonna kill us someday. Should we make this AI better? It's like,
Hey, have you seen that like supercuts of when Rogan's talking to Elon Musk and Musk is talking about fucking AI? It's pretty funny.
no, I haven't. I haven't even. I need to listen to the Elon Musk episode.
Oh, you haven't listened to the Elon Musk episode?
No, no.
Who
I
are
just saw,
you?
I just saw the memes about Elon smoking weed on there, and
And
people about
he
wanting
definitely
to
does.
people about wanted to freaking kill themselves because
I know.
oh my God, Elon Musk smokes weed. It's like, yeah. So what does that tell you? Because Elon Musk is also like a genius. So
Yeah. I like how you pause. You're like, he's a genius. He's like super intelligent.
I like Duncan Trussell's take on marijuana though, because he's like, well, marijuana and like mushrooms and everything. He's like, it's like it's a plant. It grows in the ground. People farm it. He's like, guys show up to farmers' houses with guns and put them in jail for growing a fucking plant.
Yeah, it's true.
I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense too.
See, it's crazy to me though that like there's a plant that does this to people, like especially like mushrooms. Like I don't. It's so weird that like it has like this psychedelic effect on you if you eat it.
Well, and that's, I mean, obviously they talk about like marijuana and stuff a lot on Joe Rogan, but they make a lot of good points though. Like, you know, they say that it kind of raises your awareness, raises your consciousness. it just changes like basically your thought process.
Yeah.
And he, especially Joe, is a huge advocate because he's like, that's not ever a bad thing. Like and I mean, he strictly usually is only talking about like mushrooms, marijuana, ayahuasca, DMT, natural things. Not talking about fucking crystal meth or heroin or any of that stuff.
Well, no,
But-
those legitimately ruin people's lives.
Right. Which is why it's weird to me that people continue to do them. And
Dude, some people are sad.
well, yeah, and you're right. But that's the funny thing is though is they start talking about that though. They talk about like how, marijuana raises your consciousness, mushrooms, and they were like that's probably why it's still highly illegal and why they're trying to keep us away from it, because he said if you collectively got people like smoking weed, nobody would put up with the shit that we put up with. Like, they'd be like, wait a minute, you want to do what? No, absolutely not. We're not doing that stupid thing. Like,
yeah.
I just
I-
think, too,
Yeah.
like, because they talk about the golden age, like we're in supposedly the Kali Yuga, which is the bottom, the dark age. Basically, they talk about the golden age as being when people are just more enlightened. And enlightenment doesn't necessarily mean like I have the internet and I can look up anything I want. It basically just means like kind of like we were talking about earlier, like you just have your feelings are not all about yourself. Your feelings are about the overall, everybody, the world itself, like what we are doing to the planet even.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty true. Oh,
I
man,
know.
we are in a dark age.
I know it's a bunch of hippie pussy nonsense, but god damn it, it makes more sense to me, to be honest.
You all heard it here first. Ryan is gone crazy.
Ryan is a hippie pussy full of nonsense.
I didn't say any of those things. Full of nonsense.
Yeah, right. I heard you. You were like, "My name is Bo Knight, and I approve." this
Yeah.
message."
Yeah, I was like, oh, this dude's the worst. Literally gone crazy. Please, someone help.
Dude, I'm sorry. I had to talk to someone about it.
No, dude, I
because-
like this kind of stuff.
Well, it seems like if you bring up this kind of stuff, you like talk about like higher conscious and whatever. People are like, "You're a hippie pussy," you know that? Like, and they won't even
Yeah.
listen to you. They won't even listen.
Well, dude, I'm not gonna. I feel like you kind of used to be like that.
Oh, I definitely was. 100%. I was. I was a. I thought that like marijuana was incredibly stupid. I was a huge, or I am a hypocrite, I guess, because I feel like I've been trying to, I don't know, raise my consciousness so that I, I think about things a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
try to see both sides of arguments more often.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed.
I don't know. I feel like that's how you grow as a person, though. You don't
Okay.
just get set in your fucking ways and you never want to change. Like, that's silly.
I agree. 100% agree.
We've done a lot of 100%ing. That's my fault. I keep saying it for some reason.
What do you mean? Who
I
cares?
keep saying things are 100% this. I don't know why.
I hadn't even noticed.
Oh, I'm sure if we ever get fans, they will notice things. Like
If we ever get fan,
that. Dude, there are dozens of us.
yeah, exactly. There are tens of us.
Yeah, tens of us.
Yeah,
And we will rise up together.
yeah, and yeah, we'll listen to more books, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the goal. I mean, I definitely think that more of this needs to happen. We need to just sit down and have our roundtable.
Oh,
chat.
dude, this is I think way better. And can we talk about Lovecraft for like 2 seconds? Dude,
Yes, but I have
I
to
am-
answer hang on, I have to answer what you just said real quick, though. I don't
Oh,
think this is necessarily better. I do like the less structured
oh,
part.
did
of
I
it.
say better? I didn't mean to say
Yeah.
better.
You did. You said I think this is better, but I didn't think that's what you meant, but
I
Anyways.
just meant like better for us. I think if we take a break every now and again,
right.
instead of just
That's what
kind
I
of
mean, yeah.
slogging away. I didn't mean better as in like this is a superior episode.
Right.
I didn't mean it like that, and I'm sorry if I said it like that, and I'm sorry if that's how you took it. That's not what I meant. I meant better for us.
Sure. I kind of figured that's what you meant. So,
I'm
anyways,
sorry.
yes, let's
I
talk
didn't mean
about
to like
Lovecraft.
try and glide right past it. Dude, I'm struggling. It's
Oh, me,
hard.
me too, and
It
I'm
is
almost at the halfway.
it might have been too much of a task.
Yeah, so for anybody wondering, we were gonna actually do our Lovecraft omnibus, and we were gonna do a part 1 and part 2. But now it's looking like I don't know what's gonna happen because I'm about halfway through it, and if I need to get all the way through it by the end of the month, I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I don't think I could. And like the sad thing is like Lovecraft is good. It is like it's interesting. It's just it is from a different time.
It is, and yeah, and I want to save a lot of these thoughts for because
No,
I hope
that's
we
all I
do an
wanted to say.
episode. Yeah, I hope we do an episode, but it definitely is. Well, it's just different. Like I like what has come up from the Lovecraft mythos, and I like the expansions that people have done about it. However, when you go all the way back to the beginning and Lovecraft being like the one who started a lot of this stuff, the waters get a little bit muddy because I mean, well, to me, especially listening through it this time, I realized way more of it is more poetry than anything.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Which is fine, but
I didn't
I
realize
don't-
he was such a poet.
I just don't think poetry, and this probably just me personally, I don't think poetry is the way to tell the kind of stories he was trying to tell. Also,
Yeah.
I don't really want to get into the. I'm not gonna get into the narrative.
Well, I haven't listened to very much of it, so I can't really even form an opinion.
That's good, but yeah, we'll talk about it in an episode because I do think it's something that definitely needs to be talked about.
Oh, yeah, for
Um,
sure. I mean, it's Lovecraft, man.
Well, yeah, that's just it. The name itself holds a lot, but
Yeah. You never played the Fractured Butthole, but they talk about him in that for a minute, and they're like, he was how really, really, really racist.
well, that I think is a product of his time. Well, I don't know.
Never
actually.
mind. Let's not talk about it yet.
Yeah, let's. Yeah, we
Sorry, I
gotta-
just wanted
we gotta-
to say that one thing. They're really, really, really racist because it's hilarious.
kinda-
It's super funny. You haven't been keeping up with any South Parks, have you?
I've watched a few. I watched up to the Shots episode, I think.
Oh, okay. So you haven't seen the newest one?
No,
The newest one's not today. It would have been last week's. It's
No,
dude, the new season is so good.
is it?
Yeah,
I
they
mean-
like are kind of focusing around Randy instead, and it's so funny.
Yeah, the ones I've seen, I thought were hilarious. But what's funny is I talked to Logan, and he was like, maybe I'm just too old for South Park now." I was like, "What?" Or maybe not too old, but like he was like, maybe I just don't get it anymore." But I thought it was hilarious too.
I've liked all the episodes so far. Like they talk about like you haven't seen the one about China yet, have you?
Yeah, isn't that right
Winnie
before
the
the one
Pooh?
about the shots or whatever? Yeah, the Winnie the
Yeah.
Pooh one. Yeah,
That episode's
I-
pretty funny.
dude, I thought it was funny.
And they like have a band, and then they go back to the younger band that they had.
Yeah, the finger bang, man.
Yeah, figure bang bang. It's so funny.
I do like
Like-
Stan's band, how it's like an emo screamo band.
Yeah, dude, they're like, yeah, we're here. I wrote a song about living on a farm, and it's just like death metal.
Yeah, I did like that though, and I love like Butters, how he's just freaking jamming out on his guitar.
I hate this farm. I hate this farm.
Yeah.
It's so funny, dude. It's
Funny.
fucking Butters is so fun. I love Butters. He's such a funny character. I was just curious if you'd seen it. That's all. Because I know you always have loved South Park.
I know. I was telling Caitlin I need to buy all the more recent seasons so that I can listen to the commentary because that's like my favorite part.
Yeah, the commentary is pretty good.
I like listening to commentary mostly because I like Matt Stone and Trey Parker are like my heroes basically.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they can't miss.
I don't think so. I mean, um, dude, the guy I work with says that his, I don't know if this is true, because he's from Denver, and he claims that his brother went to high school with them.
Oh, he might have.
I mean, and he said that they were like goofballs in high school.
Yeah, I bet they
And I was like, well, that kind of makes sense. I mean,
yeah, like that makes a lot of sense actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he went to high school with both of them because didn't they meet in college?
see, that's where I don't know because I don't always know if he's telling me the truth. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah. It could be hearsay.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I know.
By
what you
that he means he knows someone who has that same story, but he's just attaching himself to it. I don't know.
mean. Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
I don't.
Making
I don't.
sense.
But either way, that would be awesome to
Yeah, it
know
would be
those
cool.
guys.
It would have been cool. It would be nice to meet them, honestly. I think they're pretty neato guys.
I think so.
Yeah, like we said earlier, Orgasmo is actually it's made by them, by the way. It's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, that's a Matt Stone and Trey Parker movie, and I think it's mostly a Trey Parker movie. But
Oh, really? Matt Stone didn't really help with that one?
well, I don't know for sure. I can't say that 100%. But I think a lot of the writing and stuff was more of Trey Parker.
That's fair. Well, I mean, because it doesn't even say Matt Stone's in it.
Well, yeah, he like I think in the beginning, I don't think his name is like a. I'm sure it's mentioned, but it definitely he's not like cast as like a main character. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Although
but I
he's-
mean, he kind of is.
I was gonna say
He's
I think
fucking
he's.
hilarious.
I was gonna say I think he's one of the funniest characters. Though I don't want to sound like a queer or nothing.
Yeah. Oh god.
It's like one of the best lines ever. I don't want to sound like a queer or nothing, but
Dude, one of my favorite lines actually is when Ron Jeremy's like, "Yeah," and they're just saying like, "Shut up, Ron." He's like, "Yeah," and it's the
Yeah.
same. It's the same cut of his face saying it over and over. That part is so funny to me. I don't know why. Oh fucking A. Yeah, yeah. Shut up, Ron. You're the worst. Yeah. Oh man, that's such a
because
good
that's
movie.
that's kind of like subtle humor though, like that you get it, like that's
Yeah.
funny.
And the whole thing with G Fresh is just so funny too.
Oh yeah, that's like one of the best parts I think.
When they freaking beat him up and it's like clearly a doll.
They whoop my sorry black ass.
Yeah, they whooped my sorry black ass.
He says it's so dramatic.
Yeah, and he has like one scratch on his face, and they
Yeah.
literally just beat the tar out of him.
He beat him with a bat, and then
Yeah.
I love that Chota Boy brings it up. He's like,
Yeah,
"G-Fresh,
Squeak's like, yeah,
he's
G
like,
Fresh,
how'd
what
you get
happened
that
to your
scratch?"
Yeah. They whooped my black ass. And mind you, everybody, G Fresh is like an Asian guy.
Yeah.
He's like he owns a sushi restaurant.
Just kicking it, G.
Yeah.
I freaking
Dude,
love G-Fresh though.
no, he kind of makes me think of that documentary we watched about the sushi guy.
Yeah. Jiro
Dreams of Sushi. Yeah.
Yes, man. Documentary is intense.
Yeah. If anybody wants to feel like their life is bullshit and everything they do is literally the worst, you should watch that.
Yeah. It will it'll bring you down to reality real quick.
Dude, it will, because this guy takes sushi so seriously. But I mean, he kind of has earned it. Like,
Yeah. For sure.
the best sushi restaurant in the world. So what was the wait list? It was like crazy long.
Oh, it's
wasn't
like it's like 3 months out.
Yeah.
And that's because he only has like 8 seats that they serve sushi at, and they only serve like parties of that many people. That's it.
it? Well, yeah, and the sushi's like tailored to each person though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty nuts.
It is intense, man. Like for sure.
I haven't really watched the documentary in a while. Is that bad?
Watched it again because I made Caitlin watch it with me.
Oh yeah, what'd she think?
think she thinks I'm an idiot. So,
Why? What? Damn.
well, just because I don't know, because I'm like, isn't this crazy? And she's like, yeah, I guess. But I'm like, what? How do you not think this is crazy?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we watched it. It's pretty nuts. Yeah, that's a good documentary. It's on Netflix if anybody's interested.
Dude, we got to come up with a logo for our roundtable chats here.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking about something like that. I don't know. Like, I mean,
I got some ideas,
what
but
do you do?
yeah, I gotta find
Maybe-
some pictures.
Maybe we'll keep it secret.
Yeah. Well, people will know. I'll try to have it. Well, I probably won't get it out obviously before this goes live, but
I don't think I'm gonna post this till tomorrow. So
right, because today's Wednesday, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, dude. By the way, like I mean, I said happy birthday, but like, how was your birthday?
Oh, it was pretty good. I mean, it just kicked with my roommates watching Black Mirror. They got me some cupcakes. It was pretty nice of them, and they bought me some Oregon beers.
Some Oregon beers, huh?
Yeah, from Deschutes.
Nice. You should have got some. There's some. Well, I guess you can get this whiskey like anywhere now, but it's like I had two different kinds of whiskey while I was over there that I bought that are like local stuff. But one was like tin cup.
Oh yeah, I've drank that here.
There was another one that has like instead of a shot glass on top, it comes with like a shooter, a tall silver one,
Oh,
and it has
okay.
it has a yellow label. I cannot remember what it was called, but it was some really good whiskey.
I'll have to keep that in mind.
I like doing that because I have to travel. I like to try to find like stuff that's made locally, whiskey wise. I mean, obviously it's different than beer because, you know, now it seems like everybody but brews their own beer. So
Oh, they do.
I mean, like microbrews are all the rage right now, but whiskey I think is it's like on another level. So
Yeah, whiskey is it's a whole different thing, and it's good. I'm not gonna complain about whiskey.
I think so.
I'm a big whiskey fan. I'm not a big drinker though.
No, I mean I'm not. I'm not either. I would say like I don't go out and like party every weekend, but I mean I like to enjoy myself. So
I don't think I'm not saying there's anything wrong with drinking. That's not what I meant. It's just it is not what I do every night. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I didn't say there is. You like to have a freaking couple beers a night to help you relax? I totally get it.
I do too. I'm not gonna judge anybody for that.
Oh, I don't judge you for anything really. Just do whatever you want. Don't hurt me or others.
That's yes. Thank you. See how simple was that?
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty easy.
People think it's complicated. It's like no, I don't want to be hurt. Therefore, I won't hurt you, and then we can just be happy. Like.
Well, did you see that Joe did like a podcast with this guy, Edward Snowden, but he's like in a different place?
I saw the thumbnail for that.
I haven't listened to it yet either.
Are they just on a Skype call?
Yeah, it looks like it.
That's probably all they did is just did it over Skype.
Maybe he doesn't like to do that, which is so strange.
Yeah. I know he did that one with John Anthony West, but that's because I don't think he could pass up talking to John Anthony West.
Pretty much, I think.
And he finally got John Anthony West to come out, which was cool. And now John Anthony West is no longer with us. So
Yeah.
whatever your God is, rest his soul.
Yeah. Whatever you pray to, I hope he's happy there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
It's just crazy too because like it's just funny that like what he was saying is basically considered like heresy.
I know it was.
And that's so silly. That just makes me think more of like 1984 and makes me more terrified.
Yeah, freaking yeah, that's the scariest book ever.
It really is too. And I haven't even watched any like conspiracy videos about it. I just
No, me neither. Just listening to it twice is enough for me to be like, man, we're fucked.
Exactly. Yeah, and I got plenty of chilling vibes off of that one just from listening to it. So I've been watching a lot of stuff about The Shining now.
Yeah, the movie or the book?
The movie, because apparently nobody cares about the book. They just, everybody wants to talk about all the conspiracies surrounding the movie, and some of them are so silly.
Dude, the freaking that documentary, Room 237, is a travesty. It's so
Did
bad.
Did you watch it?
I haven't watched. No, I just watched a couple videos about it. But like the guy, you can like hear his kid like in the room with him. Like the people they're interviewing are
Yeah.
just in their house.
Yeah, exactly. It is pretty low budget.
And some of the stuff they're talking about, they're like, what? Excuse me? Like
Dude,
that
this
doesn't even
guy,
matter.
I watched a deal last night about this actually. This guy was talking about that, how they claimed that it was Stanley Kubrick covering up, or basically admitting that he helped with the moon landing or whatever.
Mhm.
This guy was like, that doesn't make any sense because the only direct like thing related to like the moon landing is Danny's sweatshirt at that one part.
Yeah.
That's it. He was like, you think if this was true, he would have, I don't know, clipped moons into the back of most of the
Yeah.
shots. He would have put, moons, maybe like pictures of the moon all around the hotel. Like there were way more ways, even subtle ways, he could have hinted at that. And this guy was basically like, people are drawing conclusions off of one shot, basically.
That's kind of one thing I don't like about like anything like that has been like fawned over for so long is that like everybody's gonna go frame by frame and think everything was on purpose.
Exactly. And people are starting to draw connections.
Yeah, that are not there.
Exactly. They're just drawing. Basically, if you look at something long enough, you're gonna find things. But that's
Right.
because now you're in the mindset to find things.
Well, and I think a lot of it is like, well, I didn't waste time watching this again for no reason.
Right.
'Cause I found stuff this time.
That guy in the video was like, because they talk about, well, you saw that part where they play the video backwards and forwards at the
Yeah.
same time. And
Which is the dumbest thing ever and makes no sense.
exactly. But this guy was like, did you know if you play the video backwards and forwards at the same time, a lot of things, he's like, spoiler alert, a lot of things line up.
Yeah.
And then he just moves on because that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything at all.
No, it doesn't. They're in the center of the shot. Well, like the guy, like that one guy says, it's like, yeah, they're in the center of the shot because the car is in the center of the shot at this part. It doesn't make any sense. They're not intersecting. It just
Exactly.
happens to be in the screen at the same time.
Yeah. Plus, I'm not saying there's not like weird directors out there, but who would think of that? Hey, let's make it so that if you play the movie forward and backwards at the same time, people will get my message. It's like,
Yeah, what?
no, nobody's
Just makes
doing
you think
that.
of Little Nicky when he's freaking playing the thing backwards. You're
Oh,
playing
yeah.
the record backwards, and it's like, devour the souls of the innocent.
He's like, that's right. That's what he says because he's like playing Ozzy Osbourne backwards.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you think Ozzy's trying to say there? He's like, John, absolutely nothing. The Blizzard was always very clear with his messages.
Yeah.
But then he's like, wrap your heads around this, gentlemen. Chicago. And that's when he
Yeah,
plays that
Chicago.
backwards.
And the guy's like, what?
Yeah.
Chicago. And the way he fucking says it too. Chicago.
Yeah, he says something like, I command you in the
Yeah.
name of Lucifer to
Yeah.
spill the blood of the innocent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Little Nicky, also another good movie. If you don't like it, send me an email about why it's bad.
I was just gonna say that too. I love Little Nicky.
Me too, but people love to shit on it. Every time I'm like, you seen Little Nicky? You're like, just the worst Adam Sandler movie ever.
What?
Yeah, people always say that, dude.
What?
Mhm.
No, that movie is good.
It's gold. It's part of like the trifecta of Happy Gilmore, fucking Billy Madison, no.
Waterboy.
Waterboy. So there's like 4 of them actually, and then that.
Yeah.
Oh, and Big Daddy. There's 5.
And Big Daddy, yeah. It was in his really good.
Yeah, the
prime
golden
time.
age of fucking Adam Sandler.
Exactly. It's funny.
Yeah, it's a solid movie. Happy Gilmore, another solid one.
Dude, how long we been doing this?
Oh yeah, you're
Getting
pretty
hungry. That's the only reason I want to know is I'm getting hungry and I need to go get some.
Hour and a half, almost an hour 40.
My
You wanna
God.
wrap it up?
Well, I mean, I'm sure our fans want to hear what we have to say.
I'm sure the fan is riveted.
Oh yeah. There are dozens of them.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I do
Hey,
kind of
man.
have to pee too.
Hey man, I'll tell you this real quick. I just uploaded or did I already tell you this? I just uploaded Hard Magic last night on YouTube
Mm-hmm.
and it has hang on. It's loading. Hang on. Wait for it. It has 3 views already.
Damn, dude. Actually, kind of cool.
Isn't that interesting though?
It is.
Dude, we have 6 subscribers.
I
That's
know you told me that. That's kind of interesting to me.
yeah, that's freaking cool.
That's super interesting to me that we have 6 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
Told you guys it was hard on the YouTubes.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm slacking, but that's because the internet has just been, I don't know, being a boner everywhere I go. It just makes it difficult.
Yeah, that is kind of annoying that you really don't have. But yeah, I mean, well, you can't really be that annoyed, I guess, if you're always on the road.
No, I know, and that's it's nobody's fault. I've been trying. Like I had like 3 videos ready to upload, but I couldn't get anywhere to upload them. None of them would just upload. So, but I got a couple more done.
It's weird to me like lately because I can look at the stats on SoundCloud, everybody, and I check it like 5 times a day. And like we have like lately we've been having not a lot, but a few listeners from the United Kingdom. That's really interesting to me.
Very cool. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. And they might only be listening because we did Body of Proof, which was in the United Kingdom.
Right. But either way, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, so if one of you is listening to this right now, hello.
Yes.
And yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, trying to think of something super British to say. Go drink some tea or something. Oh God.
Yeah. Yeah, let us just show how much we don't know about your culture real quick.
I've watched so much Top Gear.
That's true, you have. Plus, like we said, we freaking love Hot Fuzz, so
Well, and I'm gonna be real. If there are any British people listening, and hopefully they remember the show, Brainiac was one of my favorite shows of all time, and it was an England show.
that's true. Yeah.
Brainiac was amazing. So the one guy who listens to this is like, oh, I remember that. That was worth it. I think we probably should wrap this up. It's gonna be like 2 hours, so.
That sounds good. I think this was much needed, actually.
Yeah, it was nice to talk about some crazy stuff. We were all over the board.
That's fine too. I think that's good sometimes, just to get them off, get those thoughts off your chest. And by the way, to anybody who would like to maybe come on the show, I don't know,
Oh yeah,
talk about
yes.
having guests. So potentially that could be a thing. I mean, maybe we'll actually start with people we know first, so we don't end up with a
No,
disaster.
Stephen King.
Oh yeah, because he was going to be the king at our Knights Roundtable. Hello.
Hell yeah, I will protect you with my life.
But so I don't know. Maybe that could be a thing in the future.
Yeah, seriously, and like, I mean, if we could think of an excuse to get you on here, we probably would.
Well, yeah.
And if you're not a super weirdo, and maybe not the person that writes us the first hate mail,
Well, maybe.
unless it's super hilarious, and then maybe we'll bring you on for a few minutes.
Right. If it's cleverly written,
Yeah.
if it has proper grammar, proper spelling, that's a big one.
And keep the racism to a minimum.
Yeah, like 0.
The minimum is none.
Exactly. Because that's just, unless it's really, really funny. No.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
No, please, seriously though. None of that.
Yeah.
None of that nonsense.
Yeah, none of that nonsense up in here. So yeah, if you if you guys think of like good guests too, you could email us about that. Anything like that.
Or topics. some
Or
shit-
topics,
shit
yeah.
stuff.
Anything you want to hear our super uneducated opinions about, we're here for you.
Dude, you're educated. You have more education than I do.
Well, yeah, and like crop science. We were talking about like Egypt and stuff.
Well, I mean, if you say it with enough confidence, people will
That's
believe you know
true.
what you're talking about. So,
My vast amount of knowledge, and I'm a plant doctor, so I know everything about this.
Uh,
Egypt is my specialty.
I think that's a good one though. I mean, because obviously somebody doesn't have to come on, but if they have a subject they want us to either like look up or talk about, the round table is where we will be discussing that kind of stuff. So,
Well, and I would like to do too if we ever get like a lot of questions. I feel like this would be the place that we would answer them.
yeah, absolutely, that's a good point. That would be awesome.
But I mean, we don't have any right now, so can't really
Just wait.
answer nothing.
We're patiently waiting, people. So
Yeah, and the hate mail, please, someone. We're not being controversial enough. We need to be more controversial so somebody can get mad.
That's true. But
I
I mean,
know I don't really have controversial thoughts. I think.
I was gonna say that's just it. I don't really want to be
Mm.
like, because I don't want to be controversial specifically to, attract attention, which is why I think a lot of people are controversial, is
Yeah.
for that because it's like it's almost easy attention. Like if you broach some controversial subject on purpose, so that it sparks people's like hate almost. That's easy, I think that's almost too easy.
Well, yeah, and people sometimes just make trouble to make trouble.
Exactly. Plus, I wouldn't want to upset our fan.
Yeah, we don't want the fan to be mad. So if the fan could tell us about what kind of show they would like this to turn into, we will tailor it to the one person.
Yeah, for now, until more people step
Yeah,
up with an
until
opinion.
somebody else rises up against this tyrant.
But yeah, I think with that
Yeah.
we should we'll wrap this one up, and I think we will catch you guys in the next one.
Catch you in the next one. Bye, everybody.